Hi, folks. We're continuing our um, derivation of the LM curve. So in the last video, we just reviewed the idea of money market equilibrium. So now what we're going to do is be thinking about what might be shifting the money demand curve, and in the first instance, and that's going to get us our first LM curve. So the idea is this: is at higher levels of output, higher levels of GDP, more transactions, increase in money demand. And if the money supply is kept constant, that's a big if, by the way, but if the money supply is kept constant, then what has to happen is that there has to be an adjustment of the interest rate, increase in money demand, no accommodating increase in money supply. That means that the interest rate has to rise to equilibrate, to get to a new equilibrium in the money market. I'm going to illustrate that right now. So we're going to go to our little spreadsheet tool. Now notice once again that I've written things in terms of an output gap. We've introduced the concept of full employment or potential output, and we can think of the percentage deviation, the percentage difference between output and this full employment or potential output. That's the way we're thinking here, just as kind of an experiment. So the idea is that if full employment output, let's say, is 18 trillion, that means that 1% gap would be 180 billion, something like that. So in any event, so you can see over here on the left, we have an initial interest rate and initial money market equilibrium. Now let us suppose that we actually have what would be a rather dramatic increase in income and output. And as you can probably remember, you're going to see a rightward shift of this demand curve, and here it goes. There it is. And you can see that because the money supply, which is the blue curve, has stayed in place, that means that the interest rate has risen in order to keep money markets cleared, to keep them in equilibrium. Let's do another experiment. Let's suppose that we're going to a recession now. So instead, people want to hold less money. And by the way, the way we want to be thinking about this is always this exchange between money and bonds. So the idea is that going back to our increase in output, okay, with more transactions, people are basically saying, I want to hold more of this stuff, more of this more of this money to do transactions, and that means that there's going to be less abundant financing available because people aren't going to be wanting to hold so much these bonds, which are these instruments that are facilitating, that are effectively represent lending to others. Okay, so implicitly, when let's go back here, when this curve shifts, okay, people are holding more money, but also financing has become less abundant. That is why the price of bonds has gone down or interest rates have gone up. In the other direction, now now people are they don't desire to hold so much cash because they're not purchasing so much. Instead, they're going to be actually borrowers, in a sense, will be in a more advantageous position here. The interest rate will go down. So now if you look over here on the right hand side, you will see that we have this family of curves here. This is the interest rate here, and this is the output gap. And you can see that as we hold money supply constant, interest rates will rise when output rises, and they will fall when output falls. We'll get this positive relationship between interest rates and output, and this is for a given money supply, and this is the LM curve. It tells us, okay, a lot of people like to think, oh, there's a temptation to think, oh, this is a supply curve, it slopes upward. Not really. It is sort of in a combination, an equilibrium combination, a collection of points along which money markets are at any point are equilibrated for any level of income It's the combination of interest rate and income that equilibrate money markets for other given conditions. For example, if money supply is constant, that is the LM curve. Okay, so now we'll have one more video on the LM curve because I wanted to keep these videos nice and snappy, 5 minutes, and we'll be showing some shifts in the LM curve. Okay, that's in the next video.